sets. So how do you normally stand, Lisette? Good. Trisha, how do you normally stand?
She's like, oh.
Now, how'd you used to stand?
Used to stand?
Mm-hmm. And how do you normally stand? Little external rotation on the right. So what you have here is beginner, intermediate, and advanced with asymmetrical weight shift and how to correct them. So today we're going to discuss how to correct that with self-myofascial release on the foam roll. So you're going to demonstrate calves. Go ahead. You're going to demonstrate adductors, and you're going to demonstrate outer IT bands. So calves, you have to release them on a foam roll. How'd they feel your first time yesterday? Harsh. And what's asymmetries doing for you right now? What's it preventing you from doing?
It's preventing me from running.
Right. And you have a half marathon coming up, right?
Correct.
So you're going to be spending a lot of time over the next 2 days doing this kind of a release alphabet pattern. This foam roll here, you can see it has little grooves on it, so it gets into your muscles a little bit deeper. But you can do this on a regular foam roll too, or a PVC pipe, or whatever you can find laying around. What are you doing on yesterday?
We did on this yesterday.
And kettlebells too, right?
Oh,
like
yes,
a ball and
kettlebells.
stuff like that. So you can find, yeah. So doing like those little kettlebells right next to you.
And when I got home, I did it on a baseball.
Perfect. So these are very good for a beginner to focus on because most of you want to release one at a time. So you start with releasing your calves, then you go to IT bands on your outer thighs. So that's what Trisha's demonstrating right now. And Trisha, talk a little bit about 2 years ago before you were able to release your stuff. Like what kind of pains were you feeling when we were doing running and stuff like that?
Knee pain, back pain.
And what was it preventing you from doing?
I couldn't run a block.
Couldn't run a block?
No.
Okay, and what are you doing now? Like, how do you feel about running a half marathon? You feel pretty comfortable, right?
I'm going to do it.
And what are you doing that on right now?
PVC pipe.
And 2 years ago, you were on the real light foam roll, remember?
Super light foam. Yeah.
So go ahead and roll up and down and demonstrate how on a PVC pipe to roll on a foam roll the right way, IT bands. And this is the intermediate level. This is what Kevin, go ahead and say hi behind there. He's been working on releasing his IT bands, and you've noticed some marked improvement, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, you're more of an intermediate, but today you're doing your first day on inner thighs over there, and that's the hardest part to really release on you. So the IT bands, what Trisha's doing, you're just demonstrating, you're just going to hold it till that releases, because today you're at the intermediate level where you're just now getting around to releasing adductors. How did yours feel compared to like a couple weeks ago, just doing outer IT bands and calves?
I was doing that when I first got on it. Like hurt like hell now.
Right. How's it feel now?
Without hurting too much.
Right.
This is still painful.
Uh-huh. But this is kind of like, you feel how if you just jumped right into inner thighs, you wouldn't have been able to do it. So that's more of like once you're 4 to 6 weeks into doing your doing your calves first, spend about a week on that. So you're going to spend this next week before your half marathon running as much as you can. I mean, doing this as much as you can in between running and the IT bands. So you start with both of these. Once they're easy for you, you don't feel much improvement, then you switch over to the adductors. All right? Good stuff.